Mike's hot, ready to talk. One of the ideas that I've been toying with here in Bali as I'm going through this Qigong and Neigong training is what happens with your mind? What do you do with your mind during really difficult training? And this would apply to any type of training, physical training in the gym, wherever you're getting your exercise in. Anything that is going to elicit change, if you want to make a change, you need a strong enough stimulus to do so. And that stimulus is going to take you out of your comfort zone, out of homeostasis, and it's going to put you through some pain and discomfort. That's just the nature of change. So what do you do when you're faced with that pain and discomfort as you're training? Well, I think there's two different strategies you can adopt. Really three. The first is quitting, but if that's the case, you're never going to reach the desired goal. So we'll throw that one out. Quitting's a non-option. So we're left with two choices. One would be distraction or tuning out. You put your mind on anything else. So if you're at the gym, this could be listening to music as you're working out. So you're focusing on something external, trying to get your mind off of the pain and discomfort that you're going through. It could be listening to a podcast or watching Netflix, or just looking around at what's going on, talking to people as you're training. All of these things take you outside of your body. They focus your mind on something external so that it's a little easier to endure that pain that you're going through. And this isn't the worst strategy in the world. You can get quite a bit of benefit even if you're distracted during training. Just putting yourself through the movements is, if you're going far enough into challenging discomfort, you'll see changes. But you're not going to see maximal changes. For maximal change, we need to look at option two, which is absorption, tuning into the body. This really came to the forefront the other day when we were doing a particular exercise in class where you're standing in almost like a horse stance and pushing out. I think it's called pushing the tides. So your arms are extended, you are stretching, opening the shoulder, stretching all of the tissue all the way through the fingertips. You're doing this for about 3 to 5 minutes at a time for multiple sets. Your shoulders are in absolute agony. They're on fire. Every fiber is screaming at you to stop, to put your arms down, to take a break. So what do? We already said taking a break's not an option. And distracting yourself, in this case, there was not much going on around me, no music. The distraction would be essentially daydreaming. Think about something else. Again, that might get you through the duration of the exercise, but it's not going to elicit maximal results. To get the best results, we have to tune in, absorb ourselves into the body. And that's going to include feeling that pain and discomfort and working through it. So for me, there's a couple different strategies that I'll use. The first thing I'll do is reassure myself that this isn't going to cause permanent damage. You can pretty well tell if something is going to cause a long-term damage or if you're just going through a little bit of temporary pain and discomfort from the movement and it's going to subside once you're done. This was not going to cause any kind of permanent damage. As soon as I put my arms down, I was going to feel relief. So reassuring myself that there was no long-term consequences of doing this. At the same time, knowing that pain, that discomfort is the body reshaping itself. That's where change happens. So once I've assured myself that this is in fact something that's good for me, what I'll do is focus on as much release as possible. So I'll get my mind into what I'm doing, making sure that I am extending through the arm in this case, getting into the joint, into the arm, and then finding as much release as possible. I'll focus on the breath, make sure I'm getting a good inhale and exhale, and my breath isn't stopping short or getting choppy. And I'll try to relax as many things as I can where I can. So maybe this deltoid won't be completely relaxed, but how much can I relax through the rest of the shoulder, the neck, upper body, and all the way through my lower body, finding as much release as possible. So it's finding relaxation within that work and that tension. And when you do this, when you get accustomed to that discomfort and learn to work through it, it makes everything a little easier. You know that you're not going to cause damage. You know that this is what's going to cause change, and that that discomfort is temporary. It's going to subside as soon as you're done. But it is the catalyst for change. Getting to the end of the exercise, I was starting to shake and quiver almost uncontrollably. So what did I do there? This is the last little kind of trick that I pulled out of my bag, is just do it for 10 seconds. You can do almost anything for 10 seconds. I think I saw that on a comedy show one time, but it's true. Just hold for 10 seconds or one breath, and then do it again and again and again. And pretty soon, you'll make it all the way through the exercise. And that's something you could focus on with any type of physical activity, whether you're running or biking or lifting weights. How can you focus on the task at hand and create tension where you need to, and then relax what you don't need to have tense? Because excessive tension isn't helpful, right? We need the right amount of tension in the correct place, but nothing more. So if you're running, how can you breathe? How can you have a nice floatier stride, strike the ground, create tension when necessary, and relax into the rest of the movement and not create excessive tension? So how do we start to incorporate this absorption or tuning into the pain and discomfort of training to get those maximal results? If you're new to training, any kind of training, my suggestion would be maybe a 70-30 split. So 70% of the time you're distracting yourself, just making it a little bit easier to get into the rhythm and get into the habits of what you're doing. 30% of the time, try to eliminate as much distraction as possible so you can tune into the task at hand and start to embrace that pain and discomfort. For somebody who's intermediate, you've got some experience in training, maybe a 50-50 split. Half the time, throw on those headphones and just ride the tunes or podcast or whatever you're listening to through that discomfort. And then the other half of the time, start to tune into the body, into the breathing, into the muscles. Find that release when and where you can. If you're more advanced, and especially depending on the type of training that you're doing, it might be more like a 30-70 split, where 30% of the time you're doing more distracted training, but 70% of the time you're tuning in and focusing on the here and now so you can get those maximal results. So that's what I've been grappling with lately. When I'm in training, I'm trying to stay present. I'm trying to focus on my body and the task at hand, what I'm doing, trying to mentally work through that pain and find relaxation and presence when I can. And the results are pretty good. As challenging as that is, it's one of the most difficult things that a person can do, but the results are just so much better than if you quit, and also better than if you're constantly trying to distract yourself. So don't let the mind talk you out of difficult things. Work through it, stay relaxed, and keep training. Also, self-promotion stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like, subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. My website has programs that you can work through. It has a nutrition ebook. You can check that out. The link should be below if I remember to put it in there. Or just send me a message if you want a consultation and if you want to work on some health and fitness related goals. That should just about cover it. Now, turn off YouTube and go train, go outside, go play, go do something.